What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Universim Season 3.
Just don't look behind you.
Of course I had to look behind me, because if you say don't look behind you, you look behind you, right? Anyway, so thank you very much for the continued support on this season, series, whatever you want to call it, for the Universim. And I'd really appreciate if you could try and do me a favour and click the like if you do like the video to help me get out there to other people. I am very new at this. And I'm trying multiple games. Some of them work, some of them don't. But it does take a lot of time. So, yeah, I appreciate any support you guys can give me. And thank you very much for ones that have so far. All names are in the game. The 5 Immortals are now the 4 Immortals because Lisa is still... I can't say dead. She's immortal. So, she was taken by aliens to study us further. Is what we're going to go with. So let's get into the game. You can see at the minute I am just kind of spam breeding people as per normal. It's kind of a routine I have when I have enough points to do so. And by enough, it's sort of 200-ish, thereabouts. And then we'll see what we can do from here. So back to the normal processes, and that one will be this one. And this one being fire stations. And similarly with the... engineer huts, reservoirs, graveyards. I spread these around the best I can. Most cases with fires, I am very quick to use the trickle effect because it's quite cheap and put the fires out. But there are occasions where I don't, and also some houses actually do set a fire and the nuggets die instantly, and you miss that. So the spreading you can protect them from, but not the burning down. However, for whatever reason, if a fire engine or a fire person is triggered to put out that fire, they don't. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to happen that way or if it's just the mechanics, but either way, fire brigades and fire people being about the settlement is imperative and important. So yeah, I try and keep on top of that. Again, they're pretty small as well, just like the reservoirs and the engineers, so you can squeeze them in nooks and crannies as long as you've spread them out well. Not as easy to do with a cemetery, of course. So moving on to the research now, and I'm pushing nearly to the medieval era, aren't we? Yeah, so we're going through oil jack into electric, and then we'll make our selection on electric, and that will be, of course, combustion. You can see they're hovering over that, so that will be our next step moving forward, and combustion uses gas as a fuel. So by now, the video for the achievement that is Highlander, that you have to complete all the quests, has gone out that I've created. Hopefully you guys found that simple enough. A couple of comments on there are saying so thank you very much to you guys, especially for making the effort there for me. You don't have to do that, you choose to. And I'm hoping that that means that you guys can also join along doing the same as me, because it's definitely so far this is the most interesting one for me. Although Lisa vanished without a trace, I'm sure I'm going to put that down to something that I did stupidly. I can't see it on the video, but something must have happened. They can get struck by lightning. Of course, being struck by lightning in normal weather conditions will also kill them. But it does tell you usually when somebody gets struck by lightning, and I didn't see that, and I checked on the video recording and I didn't see it. So far no one else has died, none of the Immortals that we've named viewer-wise, and none of the 4 remaining of the 5. We will have an overview of them shortly and see what people are up to, what jobs they're doing, how many children they've had, and X, Y, and Z. But in the meantime, we need to push forward, really, and just look at... and for reference, I'm not looking like an idiot. I'm just figuring out which ones of the discovery science I want to use first, discovery points I want to use first, because I've only got 30. Just sat visualising at one of the stations, the intersections of where the roads would be, or the paths. I do like doing this. I'm picking up a person that died on the floor, because it would be lazy of me not to. But I just like to sit by and watch the busy city and the roads. This time I haven't missed one road so far. So all roads that are present by the game's own creation should spawn once we get there. You can see they are actually already spawning. That mud patch is the first stage. Then they go to like a cobbled one, and then they go to a natural road. So you can see it's a very busy city, even though we only have a couple of 100 nuggets. That is obviously growing quickly because of the constant forced breeding escapades I go on, and the fact that there is a good proportion, sort of 40 to 50, that are immortal, so will never die, and that number will never drop. This person, however, isn't immortal, did die, and needs to go to be buried. And as you can see for the burials, the pyres are all turned off, so the corpses are remaining in the cemeteries. Just in case anything happens, I get to see why or how. That's a just in case. However, if we get to the point where they start filling up, I will turn the pyres on and let them get rid of the corpses so that we don't have a mess there. There is Poke going to work as a prayer or as a priest, whatever you want to call them. Love art showing that that is in fact a named viewer. And there we go. 4 children from Poke so far. Here's a couple more named. You got Connor there working in the wood store. Wood refinery, should I say. And then 𝐂𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐓 there hiding within the hut in the same building. Both 4 children each. So it looks like a bit of a common denominator. To be honest, I would imagine that they would be very similar because they're not having a chance to breed or mate themselves because I'm just constantly forcing everybody to do it. So the numbers should kind of stay the same. Obviously, the older you are, the more chance you've got of doing that. But this is that. And that's the expedition camp. While it's the first level, I'm not going to waste my time sending 10 in. I'm going to wait for the 30, maybe 50, but certainly wait for the 30. It's not too far down the research tree, and the research isn't that difficult. It does it itself. You don't need to waste nuggets or anybody to do it. No buildings speed it up. So for me, it just makes sense. Unlocking the oil wells now. I'm going to do that immediately as well to get them resources coming in. Making sure to be as close to my settlement as possible for resource transportation, but also the ability for the buildings not to fall down. And after oil, we go into electricity, which does the Tesla's Quandary quest, unlocks the battery, and then allows us to pick which we want. And again, Combustion is the one we are using this time, which is the last one in the game that we haven't tried. So we'll see how bad or good that one is. So just a strike carve lightning on that battery to charge it now. It's completed the quest, and that is that quest done. Obviously, for those of you that don't know how that quest is completed, there is a tutorial to do so on my channel. So back over to the main sort of settlement area. You can see it's starting to get cold. Unfortunately, I don't have enough points to skip it this time, which sucks, but is what it is. Our research has indeed run out, but of course, we all know what we're going. There's no surprise there. Combustion energy it is, which gives us the power plant. And it turns out they are huge. And I mean huge, right? I mean not airport huge, or maybe even nuclear power plant huge, but wow. When you compare them to the kinetic and the windmills, gosh. And here it is, and here we go, placing the very last of the buildings out of all of the research that we've done pre 1.0, and we'll see how these go. From face value, it is a large building, right? It is pretty large. It doesn't need that many decent, difficult materials, and 3,500 build points is quite substantial, but it is a big building. So what I do know from this, and I'll talk over while we do, I know it's not finished yet, but we can get to that. I've prioritized it, and we're going to get an immense amount of people working on this shortly. But specifically, this gives 220 power constantly while you feed it gas and gas only, and it requires 4 nuggets. Once you upgrade it, it then uses 8 nuggets, and you get 360 power out of it. But either way, it's constant power. The second thing that I've noticed is that it actually increases the CO2 by 0.9%. That's pretty low to say it's a power plant chucking out a lot of fumes. So that's easy to mitigate. One park, or in the event of that you're running out of the decent parks, 2 parks will easily quash that, or even 2 lumber mills will quash that also. So the actual pollution coming off it isn't that bad at all. So I will wait for that to build, because that's the next step for us to move forward anyway. To look at, we'll have a look at a few of the viewers. So here's Jojo. She is a professor. She's currently going to eat. 4 children, and is married to the person there that says spouse, because I'm not going to try and pronounce that. But they sound Russian, I think. I'm not sure if these names are just people hitting the keyboard, or if they're genuine names, or if they're a bit of both. It's impossible to say, really. I'm sure someone knows the answer. We'll go back over to these 2 working at the lumber mill, and you've got there 𝐂𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐓 with 4 children. And then if we zoom in on the other person, which is hiding under there, you will see that is 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂𝐓 Fury again with 4 children. I've obviously looked at them twice. I didn't look at Connor, did I? By the looks of it. My apologies, I'll get to that soon. This person trapped in the house. Can't actually click on them, so there's nothing I can do there for... That's a lie. I could have just clicked on that profile there and got them that way. I have played this game before, I promise. Anyway, that was 𝐂𝐿RIM. We'll get back to 𝐂𝐿RIM as well. And then finally, handy. Hiding inside the engineer's hut there. Hopefully no building. Oh, off to work, I see. And 6 children there and working as an engineer. So nice to see. You can see their ages range from 117 years old to 97 years old. And Homer and Marge, the oldest in the game, are 127 years old. 4 of the Immortals obviously still remain. You can see Bart is the first child with Lisa disappearing. And nice to see here, makes sense. Homer and Marge both in their retirement, but still working as fisher people. Fishermen, fisherwomen, it says fishermen. Both fishing together, so that's nice to see. That's retirement for you.
Congrats on the new gas plant, creator. Just think about all the air conditioners and bottled water Nuggets will be able to sell when global warming gets into full swing.
And that is the sense from the man saying that the power plant has completed. So if we can look at this now, we can see what it looks like. It's okay. It's not the prettiest. There you go. You can have up to 4 nuggets working in there, which produces... You see the bottom line is 120 power. Now, by standard, it's 120 anyway, so that's plus 120. So that would make 240. And on the right-hand side, you can see that it needs gas. And lots of it. 1 gas lasts 1 minute. So we could argue that we have 259 minutes of gas, but immediately noticing that, I then go on a bit of a spree to put down more gas plants to make sure that we don't run out of that. I would have done the same with oil jacks if it had used oil or fuel, whichever way around it is. But it's gas, so we'll make sure we're going to get more gas. It is the cleaner of the energies in terms of CO2 emissions anyway. There's not the greatest places around where I've already built up, so we will move over to here, where there is a much nicer spread and a much bigger compact area. So there you can see 2300 gas there alone, and then another 13, 1400, 15, 16. Yeah, that'll do. 1600 there, and they're not touching, so that is separate. So that is a lot of gas to come for us in the future. Obviously this area is brand new, so we're now going to have to go around. I am going to put in between there the holy ground to try and force them to start putting some houses down there instead of the residential just going willy-nilly wherever it wants. I want the residential to move in there now, which is in between here and our main settlement. We'll then get the engineers' huts in, the reservoirs and the fire engines, and likely a cemetery as well, because this is quite a ways away from the main village or town. And once that's up and running and people are starting to come over here, we'll also get some storage facilities, warehouses in, etc., just to make sure that we can get some resources built up there that nobody needs to walk 100 miles for. We've got another one of the situations that we had in Season 2 where we've got this little crevice nook that they seem to be using as a main road. Now, although that doesn't look much at the minute, that is quite a lot of traffic. So where you can see the cursor go in there, a bridge will be going in as soon as we can. You have to just unlock the medieval bridge, and then we can put a bridge across it, as long as it doesn't do too much damage to my roads. Finding some rock candy there, because again, 2 of the crops that you have to find are actually based on rock crops. So you'll find them on the mountains, not in the forests, deserts, or grass. Just to show you a bit more of a boring part, parks and local businesses. Always make sure to keep on top of them, both for the happiness and the crime, but also for the purpose of the actual climate. So this time I'm going down the road that my pollution will be always negatively affecting the planet. Therefore, I don't expect to get any acid rain, any acid pools or pollutions, and that we can go to the moon without worrying about anything going wrong on the planet as we are at the minute. And finally, unlocking the courier huts, placing the first one down again per the tutorial gives you the overpack quest. Collect the 3. No you don't. You deliver the 4 parcels that are presented, or 3, it depends. It says 5, but it's actually 5, 4 or 3. So you just deliver them to the locations they need to be delivered to, and that completes the quest and insta builds your first courier's hut. And there we go. So that unlocks then 4 couriers, which sole purpose is to move resources around wherever they need to go. And I am now going to go on a bit of a spree and make sure we spread them around everywhere and anywhere we can and get them resources moving. These guys move them faster and more of, and it is their sole purpose so they won't get distracted by anything else. Now we're back and unfortunately in crappy winter, but what I did spot was one of the exiles has got a really weird name. And by weird I mean it's not weird enough. There, 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂𝐓. It sounds like a real person to me. I know it can't be because that's not part of the actual game, but unless there is a 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂𝐓 out there that's joined my game somehow, and if you have, please let us know. But normally it's more Mayan or Aztec names, and that's not. So I'm not sure where or how that's come from or what or it could be. Just as a nice little hello, welcome to the planet, I'll just drop some meteors on you just in case. Just to see if they responded, but they didn't. So I think I've got a weird yet wonderful person in our game that seems new, seems real, but may or may not be. And then immediately with the infected zone popping up, I'll click on that. I drop everything for those to make sure that we don't have a catastrophe with our Immortals. Same as normal. Clear it up and pick them up. Another UFO coming to try and take one of my Immortals, but this time I say, no sir, you shall not pass. And down he goes. And we get a gift. Another box, though I am more terrified of opening these than I ever have been because of the whole ones that like put the plague on like 30 or 40 nuggets. I've only opened one so far actually, and that one killed 5 people just by exploding. So it's not a good plan as of yet. Bit of science for the combustion engine, and the fact that I dropped it down to 1 thinking that that made it use less. Now what happens is every 1 minute it uses 1 gas, as you've seen there, and if you put 4 people in there it does exactly the same. However, it increases the power to 220. So it turns out that 1 person is less efficient, 4 people is the most efficient, because no matter what you do you'll use 1 gas every 1 minute. So you might as well give it 4 nuggets and gain all of the extra power. The extra power isn't technically going to waste because we have batteries, so I'll be filling up the batteries and charging them. Should anything happen in the future where we run out of gas or anything like that, that will be your backup. So yeah, I would suggest that you do. I mean, obviously the only downside to what I'm saying is if you're short on nuggets. If you are short on nuggets, then that's not necessarily the best thing to do. But if you aren't short on nuggets, like I'm not, then putting 1 in there makes no sense. And you may as well go for the 220 power maximum with 4 nuggets and wait for the space age where we get the upgrade to take it to the 8 nuggets. Sacrifice event pops up. It's not murder if it's a party. They want to kill people. You get to pick which one you want to do. I go for number 3. I prefer surprise parties, so sacrifice the worshippers themselves. So the people that wanted to be cannibals actually get turned into food. It does drop my believers by 5 or 10. I believe it's 10, yeah. And it drops my food by 5. But other than that, not the end of the world. And, I mean, it served them right. It was their idea, so be it. Minus 20 food, minus 5 believers, and plus 50 creator points, which creator points are rubbish to me because I'm getting them easy anyway. Continuing to push forward on the research, we're now going after the couriers into government, which allows us to unlock the upgrade for the town hall. Straight over to law enforcement and then into what choices we have, prison or rehabilitation centre. I'll go rehabilitation centre mainly because that one doesn't kill nuggets, it rehabilitates them. So it will save us losing any more nuggets, especially if we get an immortal that is arrested. So the fact that they are able to live forever means that they can be rehabilitated and come out like it was nothing. And then lastly, you saw there, I'm aiming for going cable arch, or corbral arch, I think it's pronounced. Basically, that unlocks the bridges so that we can get a bit of a better movement source around the city. Anybody with any names for a bridge, please let me know. The names from Season 2 I'll move over as well. There was one I used and one I didn't get a chance to. So they'll move over anyway for the first 2 bridges that I put down. If you want a bridge named after yourself, just let me know. Same as the nuggets, really. Any new requests or any requests I'll make do with. We are at the 20-minute mark now, though, so I'm going to end the episode here. So thank you very much for watching. If you've watched the video to this point, thank you very much for your support. Please like and subscribe when you can. Take care. Goodbye.